Hi everyone, this is Jennifer from Khaki and Bloom. Today we're making a really easy flower, and we're starting by making a bright yellow cone-like shape at the top of our flower. Just making sure not to make the bottom of that cone too even so that the flower looks nice and natural. And then I'm going in with a bit of a darker shade of yellow, and I'm just going to dab the tip of my paintbrush into that color and then dab at the bottom of the cone just to give it a little bit of extra definition and some variant in color. Then I'm going in with a very bright pink, neon kind of pink color, and I'm starting with kind of a thinner line and then widening that line to form some nice long petals. So what I am paying attention to as I kind of paint the petals along is to make sure that none of the petals are exactly the same shape. So I'm doing some kind of longer petals and some shorter ones. They don't all have exactly the same width, and I'm just kind of paying attention to that as I go along to make sure that my flower will look nice and natural, not symmetrical in any way. And you'll see some of the paint might go into the yellow portion of our flower a little bit, and that's okay. If you wanted to dab your paintbrush back into that blob of paint and bring it back down, as I think I'll do right here, you can do that, but you really do not have to. You want it to look a little bit messy, and then you want to do also shorter petals on the side of your flower, as I did here, which will help with the overall shape of our flower. So I'm just kind of going back in here and adding a little bit of extra definition and maybe a little bit more color in some of my petals if I feel like they might benefit from that. Now I'm going in with a smaller brush and I'm going to paint my stem. So I've picked a very vibrant green to kind of go along with the bright yellow and the bright pink that I'm using. So it's a very sunny, very happy flower. And I'm just going to go ahead with that thinner brush and kind of paint a curved line. So you want to get your shape kind of settled, and then you can go back in if you want with a little bit of extra paint to give a bit of extra definition and add a little bit of extra color. Then I'm going to go back in with the pink color in the bigger brush and kind of create some petals at the back of my flower. So those petals are further away from what you can see at the front, and so they're a bit lighter in color, so I'm using a bit more water here and just kind of creating those petals so that my flower looks much more full and lush and filled in. This is not actually a dainty flower. There's a lot of petals, and it's nice and full. So I'm just going ahead and doing that and filling it out. And then the next thing I'm going to start to paint is actually some darker petals. So I'm just using a darker shade of that same pink and going over the top of certain petals and making some darker strokes over top, and that's going to help give a little bit of extra definition to my flower and also make the bright pink actually stand out. So then once I'm done with all my petals, I let it dry, and then with my paintbrush here, I just did some little black dots on my cone shaped. And then I'm going to go in with a gel pen, just a black gel pen, and I'm just going to add some extra definition to my flower. So I'm going to start with the yellow cone at the top, and I'm just going to go over top of that. And then I'm going to go into my petals and kind of create some individual petal shapes. I'm not trying to follow exactly where my paint is, but I'm doing some kind of loose shapes over top. So I'm going to continue doing those all throughout, and then I'm going to use the pen and make my stem as well. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. And besides the drying, it's about a 5-7 minute flower to make, so it's pretty easy, and I like how bright it is and how happy and sunny. And that's it. I'm just giving some definition now to those little dots as well, and flower is just about done.